They have passion. They want to do right by their tenants. And they try very hard to do right by their tenants. But by definition, the systems set up are really set up in such a way that more often than not they're going to fail. You know, it's not a surprise to me that the elevators don't work. That people have mold in their homes that, you know, just hasn't been remediated. The living
conditions are
appalling.
Yeah.
Appalling.
Unacceptable.
Right. So my hope is that, you know, I can use that background that I've had and the experiences that I've had and the connections that I have to the community to work with this new city council, with this new mayor, to really make a difference and try to do something as simple as remediate the mold in all these homes.
Right.
You know,
it's going to be a big challenge.
I think so.
For you guys, but I think it's part of the work.
That's right. It is.
Right? This is part of the work.
It is.
Now, do you take your work at home with you, or can you isolate yourself, or you can't, or
I can't.
You can't, right?
So no, I'm not good at that.
You're not good at that. You drag it with you, no matter where you go. You bring it with you.
You know, again, when they talk about women and women in positions of power, often you read about how they are real type A people who can, you know, have it all, who have to lean in. You know, I know that I don't have that capacity. When I worked for the city at the Office of Management and Budget and my first daughter was born, I knew I couldn't do a really good job at OMB and, you know, be at the mayor's beck and call, which is what you have to do in that job, and be a good mother and meet my daughter's need. You know, she needs me 24/7, right? That's how she needed me as a baby. I couldn't do that and be at the beck and call of the mayor's office, you know, and really do a good job there. Yeah, I had to make a choice. I couldn't do both.
Right.
And, you know, I chose my daughter. And for the last, I guess, nearly 20 years, that's where my priority has been. But as they've left the nest and been able to do more and more on their own, I've been able to engage more in the community.
Which is beautiful. Affordable housing.
Affordable housing, our public schools.
Education should be much more accessible. Shouldn't
much
why
more
is it
accessible.
so hard to go to college?
That's right. And
why
is it the case that we don't have the resources? You know, we spend $22 billion on our public schools every year. You know, why can't we have the robust education system that all students should have access to? And it goes to policy. You know, why are students teachers spending so much time teaching to the test? Right. If you're going to do that, you're not going to be able to have time to teach children how to be curious.
Right.
How to just be curious.
Be thirsty for knowledge.
Yes. To love
knowledge.
Yeah,
be hungry for it. Right?
Exactly.
It's just insane when I see, when I hear, when I read the news, and I said, oh my God, education shouldn't be a luxury.
That's right. And so, you know, with Bill there and with this city council, I'm really hoping that we can change our education policy so we can set up our teachers to succeed, so we can set up our principals to succeed. And ultimately, of course, what everyone cares about is to set up our children to succeed.
Right.
And we can do that by not clipping the wings of our teachers and principals, you know, and not forcing them to spend all the time teaching to these high-stakes tests.
Right, which is
ridiculous.
I think it is insane. It shouldn't be that way.
That's
right. It seems like you're not learning, really.
That's right. I was so happy to hear, I don't know if you read this too over the past few months, that many of the top universities are stepping back from requiring the standardized tests to using those as a tool for deciding which students to bring in.
Right.
What a great validator, right, that our higher education is saying, wait a minute, these standardized tests don't necessarily really measure how smart these students are or how interested these kids are in learning and whether or not they should come to our university or our college. I mean, how wonderful that the colleges could go in that direction. Maybe that will trickle down and then we won't have so much testing in our schools. You know, you'd really want to get to know the whole student. to decide who to have in your
I think the world
university.
is changing very fast.
Yeah.
And like we were talking before, like information is so accessible with one click.
Yeah, and that is true for the media, right? And for Facebook and Twitter and all these social media things, and the internet and news now can travel so quickly. One of my goals in the city council is to make our New York City government more transparent.
I know,
Wouldn't that
because
be
you read my
wonderful?
mind, because I was going right there. I make note of that specifically. And you said not only that, you said government job is to ease the burden, right, of the people.
Absolutely.
And please, let's talk about that, because it's something that I want to hear about.
Well, all these things are linked. If it's not just making information public for the sake of making it public and being able to say, oh, now government is transparent. The point is, when everyone has access to information, information is power.
It is.
And as more people have access to it, I would hazard a guess that our decisions will be smarter, because they will be driven by coming to what the right answer is. And I have belief in the people, I have faith in the people. And I think that the more people have access to information, we will come to the right answer for more people. It's like participatory budgeting, which is a hard word to say, and I really wish we could come up with another name for it. But several council members have implemented this program now. And to cut to the chase, the idea is to involve every resident of a district in deciding how to spend $1 million of taxpayer capital funds. Let everyone decide. Let everyone know about it.
Yes.
Come up
but
with
everything
projects.
seems to be, you see, the more, like I said, the more you read about things, the more people, they should know everything about the
That's
government.
right. Because when you do, and when you turn more and more over to people, and I'm not saying turn everything over. I mean, the budget is $70 billion. So surely we could find room for $1 million for people to choose how to spend it.
Right.
Projects that will be funded are the ones that are needed by that community. And, when you mentioned, easing the burden of people and government's job being to ease that burden, I got that line from listening to, I think his name is Robert Blanco. He's a Cuban poet. And he gave the inaugural poem for Barack Obama. And the whole poem is really about his parents and all the work his parents did to get him to the place where he could be delivering this poem.
Right,
and
how
his
beautiful.
father worked in the fields. His mother rang up groceries, so that he could be at the point where he's giving this poem, where he could have a college education, where he could become the man that he is now, who is a beautiful poet. And he was able to articulate Obama's vision of serving the needs of people, of making more education more accessible to kids just like him.
Right. But it should be more accessible. It shouldn't be a luxury. And people,
That's right.
The government, the White House, wherever you go, it's about the people. People are dying every day. People, they can't pay bills.
Right.
There's not enough money for mortgages. There's not enough money for college.
Right, and let's even get more rudimentary with this
Yes.
sequestration, federal sequestration. I know this is off topic a little bit, but the trickle down is starting to hit New York City now.
Yes.
So, there are interviews with people who get food stamps and who get
Which is
the
a whole different
supplemental-
story with the food stamps situation. We don't have time to get into that. I'm sorry that I cut you off.
Sure,
but
no, that's all right.
It's just we had 2 minutes left. 2 minutes. 2 minutes. I want to talk more about housing, more about education, more about how you see the world and the big corporations taking over.
I fully believe that in this city's budget, if you were to start to knock away at the loopholes, at the tax loopholes for corporations, for wealthy individuals. And if you worked very hard to manage our city dollars well, we could do a better job meeting the needs of everyday New Yorkers.
You think it's going to get better? It's going to get
I think
easier?
we can do it. I think we really can. I think we'll have Bill de Blasio fighting that fight. I think we have a city council who is primed.
I do. I was reading, I didn't know that his father committed suicide.
Well, it's a very sad,
very personal,
difficult household.
Yes.
I mean, he was an alcoholic, but he was a veteran.
Yeah.
You know,
He
and
doesn't
he came back.
hide his struggles.
That's
I
right.
love
This is a
that.
veteran who came back with post-traumatic stress disorder, which our government is only now starting to take seriously and treat. And to the extent that we can do that, and we can step up for our veterans and make life easier for them, you know, we will be doing a service so that more people can get a good education and work hard, just like Bill de Blasio did, you know.
I like his character. I like to see real people. Like I said, I'm very much go to my instincts. And we have to wrap it up, or we're already out, or we just got to thank everybody out there. But this is what happens when you sit and you have a conversation.
Well, thank you so much for giving me a chance to do this.
No, we were